Welcome back to Twin Football. Adam and Jacob here, Thursday, September 26th, to go over Premier League predictions for Week 6. Jacob rocking the Man City jersey as they stay top of the Premier League title, but not a great weekend really for them with the injuries. But we'll just go ahead and dive straight into the picks as they head up north to St. James's Park to take on Newcastle. Who do you got in this one?
Yeah, to start the weekend, we got a good one. Newcastle unbeaten in their last 10 Premier League games at St. James's Park. The last team to beat them was City last January. KDB had that amazing redemption back from his injury, came off the bench. He immediately scored a goal, had a brilliant assist to Oscar Bob. Looks like Oscar Bob's definitely not going to go. KDB might make the bench. We'll see here. Newcastle coming off that deserved loss, it has to be said, against Fulham. They had more possession, but they didn't really know what to do with the ball. I feel like they've been in games this season. They don't really have any creativity and they don't know what to do with the ball, and they're struggling for goals in some games, and they did last week. Manchester City coming off a thrilling draw against Arsenal. Michael Oliver, in my opinion, had a pretty questionable game. A lot of controversy to talk about, that Kyle Walker incident where he pulls him forward and then immediately restarts play. I don't think you can be too mad if you're a City fan, but it was just a little bit weird refereeing. He probably should have allowed Kyle Walker a little bit more time to get back into position. You should be equally upset with Kyle Walker for not just sprinting back, though. Arsenal employing a little bit of dark arts on that corner kick. Some people think it's foul. Some people don't think it's a foul. I think it was pretty it was in the gray area. I'm leaning towards foul, but I'll miss
Goalkeepers Union says that's a foul every day of the week. It was also a foul 8 minutes earlier.
I'll admit that I'm a little bit biased. A lot of people are saying that it would have been kind of soft, but clearly they're impeding Ederson. They did the same thing in the North London derby to Vicario, and Gabriel had goals in back-to-back games. I think you might need to crack down on that. The third controversy was that soft second yellow with Trossard. I think it was a soft yellow card. You shouldn't get a second yellow for kicking the ball away. I know they're trying to crack down on players wasting time, but Trossard is already in the motion when the whistle is blown to kick the ball away. But again, there has to be some criticism on the Arsenal player. Like, you just had that happen to you. Just stop kicking the ball away. I know it's fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me once. Shame on me. Arsenal's got to feel a little bit upset with Trossard, especially going in on that challenge, the way just clattering into Bernardo's back. Like that, in my opinion, that was more of a shout for the second yellow than kicking the ball away. But you hate to see a red card, especially in the first half in such an important game. You can't blame, we'll talk more about it later, but you can't blame Arsenal for sitting back in that second game. But Rodri out with an injury in that game. It looks like it was an ACL tear. He's probably going to be out for the season. That's a huge, huge blow. Probably should have been player of the season last year. He's been such an important player. That was his first Premier League start of the season, and he goes off injured. City have fared way better this year without Rodri. Kovacic is great, but Rodri is amazing. KDB is still a major doubt for this game, as I said earlier. He might make the bench. If he makes the bench and does another thing at St. James's Park like he did last year, I'll be ecstatic. But missing KDB, missing Rodri, it's going to be really tough. I'm going draw here at St. James's Park. I hate to pick against City. They're Manchester City, and I think they're just going to lose a little steam here. They had such a hard-fought battle last week against Arsenal. They're playing at a really difficult place to play away. Newcastle hasn't been in great form. They just lost against Fulham, but I like draw here. I think City's a little rattled with the Rodri injury.
Yeah, it's hard to say that you wish you had that guy behind you, Kun Aguero, coming on at St. James's Park. You know he likes a goal there, but Haaland, 10 goals this season. He has more goals than every single team, but 2 are the same amount or more than every single team except 2. So he's not injured, always going to give you a chance. I do like draw there as well. But yeah, interesting game. I'm glad you mentioned Oliver there. Obviously, Arsenal fans are going to feel hard done by. City fans a little bit hard done by both. And I think that we just need to outlaw that second yellow card rule. If it's a rule, I understand it being called, but
It should only be a
you hate
first
to see
yellow.
it.
You can
Yeah,
only be a
you
first
just
yellow.
ruin the game with
If you're
it,
on a
and we
yellow,
really,
allowed to
yeah,
waste time. I don't know
yeah.
how to write it, but it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, and we'll get to it when we get to the Arsenal game as well. But anyway, speaking of drama, Chelsea Brighton Brighton just create drama. I don't know what it is. 7 games so far this year across all competitions. 4 games that had a red card in them. 2 games that they had a 90-plus minute goal in them. One being the João Pedro winner at Old Trafford, the other from Wolves in a consolation goal. And then they had that 0-0 draw against Ipswich that was very back and forth, some great goalkeeping in there. And Brighton would maybe feel hard done by not scoring and getting the win in that game. So
Definitely.
drama since the start of the season for them. And when it comes to playing Chelsea, drama always ensues. Last year, 2 games, 2 Chelsea wins, but 2 red cards, one for Reece James at the end of the season, which carried over to the start of this season. The whole reason why he missed the start of this season. Then, of course, he got injured, so he won't be playing in this one either. And a red card for Conor Gallagher in December of last year. Danny Welbeck with late goals in these games against Chelsea. Always fancies a goal against us. João Pedro with a 90-plus minute goal as well. He got a knock a couple weeks ago in international breaks, been coming off of the bench, so we'll see how much minutes that he gets in this one. But I haven't been on to really talk about Chelsea since this turn the corner moment. The last 7 halves, only 1 goal against. Absolutely flying from a defensive side that couldn't make 5-yard passes to start the season. Chelsea has now sorted itself out with the likes of Jadon Sancho, Pedro Neto coming into 2 separate squads, trying to do our best Real Madrid impression. The only difference is we're in the Conference League and they're winning Champions Leagues, but basically the same thing there. And so we had a full substitution in midweek for the Carabao Cup, and we will do so when the Conference League picks up. So that's good. That helps us keep rested for games like these where you need to pick up all 3 points. Brighton undefeated so far in the Premier League this season, but that will end this weekend. Give me Chelsea in a win, but a close win. Hopefully they can put 90 minutes of consistent play together. But Brighton, with the wing play that they have, João Pedro, Welbeck, always seems, I don't know what it is. He just always seems to get a goal somehow. Doesn't look like he's going to, and he always finds himself on the score sheet. So give me a close one, but give me a Chelsea win.
Yeah, when you're not here last week to criticize your team, they performed. I mean, you should try some positive reinforcement with your team and they'll do a little bit better. They can't take the criticism. You got a bunch of youngsters, Next
I
up,
got to motivate them.
Next up, we got Brentford taking on West Ham. Brentford coming off a loss to Tottenham. Tough stretch of games for them. Played City, then Tottenham. Now they're playing West Ham. The last 2 games, they've scored in less than 24 seconds in each game, and they've gone on to lose both of these games. Absolutely crazy stuff. We'll see if Mbumo gets another goal. Their only losses this season, though, are against what you would deem top 6 teams. Tottenham's not there right now, but I think they'll be back soon. I think Tottenham might go on a little run here. West Ham coming off a loss against Chelsea where they were simply outclassed. Lopetegui will be feeling a lot of pressure right now. I think he is on sack watch. I think he might be the first. They just got rid of David Moyes in the offseason there, but this West Ham team is in shambles right now. They just had a horrible loss to Liverpool in the Carabao Cup where Edson Alvarez picked up a red card. We'll see if Irving, the 24-year-old, might get the start. He came in off the bench against Chelsea. He was one of the only bright spots in the game. He completed 21 for 21 passes. He was one of the only people not giving up possession to Caicedo. Fulkrug has returned to training, which will be a big win for them as they've had trouble in the striker position this year, finding goals. Somerville has been getting the start, and Danny Ings started midweek. We'll see if Antonio, who has been getting most of the Premier League starts, might get the start here, but they're anxious to get Fulkrug back. I imagine he'll come in off the bench, but I like Brentford. Pep a couple weeks ago had nothing but praise for them. I think they've honestly had a really solid season. They've had a pretty hard schedule, and West Ham is struggling. Brentford at home, I like them.
Yes, I would agree with that. Everton at home hopes to have that same luck here as a home team, but they're a team who's thrown away the lead in 4 consecutive games, including midweek losing to Southampton on penalties in the Carabao Cup as well. Or sorry, that was last week, and then last weekend losing or drawing Leicester 1-1. We know the historic loss to Bournemouth, 3 goals in 9 minutes. The 3-goal comeback from Aston Villa. That one a little bit more okay, considering the fact they scored early. Villa was able to, get their 3rd goal by the 76th minute, and no one really expected Everton to get anything out of that game to go into it. The Bournemouth one, unexcusable. And so they take on Crystal Palace, who I think a lot of people thought more of, even with the loss of Elise. Mateta came back from the Olympics, took him a little while to get integrated. I thought that he was going to come in and really hit the ground running, staying on form from the end of last season. Crystal Palace, one of the best teams to end last season. I think a top 5 record in the last 9 games, where they went 7 of those unbeaten. Absolutely fantastic. And so Everton's going to look to rebound here and get out of the relegation zone against Crystal Palace, but I just can't have any confidence in a team that is going to throw away 4 consecutive leads. No confidence whatsoever. They lost 3 out of the 4 of those games, not even just pulling out for a draw. Crystal Palace has too much on the offensive side. Eze is just always knocking on the door. Mateta, I think, will pick up form, but I will go with a draw here because Everton is at home. And hopefully Everton can start turning around and holding on to these leads a little bit better. But until then, I just don't have the faith that they're going to put a full 90-minute performance together.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for Everton. I think especially Dwight McNeil, he's had such a great season. They look great on the attack, but they've got the most goals against for a reason. They just look so horrible defensively, and it's hard to win Premier League games when you're
Why is Ashley Young still playing? I get it. A great assist last week. I understand it. But now he's going to give up 4 consecutive penalties. Why does he still play? It's unbelievable to me. Unbelievable.
Arsenal back at the Emirates this weekend, taking on the newly promoted Leicester City. Arsenal obviously coming off that 2-2 draw against City, where they almost managed the unthinkable of getting all 3 points at the Etihad. Trossard will miss 1 match due to that red card. Again, it's a little bit of a soft yellow card, but Arsenal players, just stop kicking the ball away. You've been bitten by it twice. I know you've got reason to be upset. There's instances. I don't think the Doku one was one of those instances.
Okay. Wait. We need to stop on this. We need to, any Arsenal fan out there who is saying that Doku kicked the ball away, either didn't watch the game, only watched the 5-second highlight or something, because you can clearly, Michael Oliver, I'm not saying he had a good game, all right, by any means, but you can see him direct Doku to pass the ball back to where the spot was supposed to be taken, which is something he didn't do in the goal for when Arsenal took the free kick that went over Kyle Walker's head 10 yards ahead of the spot. But in this case, he did. And so there is no reason that Doku ever should have gotten a yellow card for kicking the ball away. Ever. All right, we need to just close that argument, okay?
I agree. And the João Pedro one, for example, in the Brighton game, probably should have been a yellow card, and Declan Rice gets a red card right after that. Luckily, Trossard is not Declan Rice, and Trossard's a great player, don't get me wrong, but he's not integral to the Arsenal squad like Declan Rice is. I think they'll be okay with some of their other midfield options. You can't blame Arsenal at all for sitting back at the Etihad down 10 man. I don't know what people are thinking. Who down a player at the Etihad with a goal lead would not sit back? I don't know. Like, the criticism against Arteta and the team for that is ludicrous. And it almost worked. Defended very well. City got kind of lucky with that John Stones late goal. They easily could have pulled it off. Odegaard's still dealing with that ankle injury. They'll be anxious to get him back. He's such an important part of their attack. Leicester City coming off a draw against Everton, a scrappy goal off the corner to tie it up, but sometimes that's what you need to get goals. They've scored in every game this season, which is super impressive from a newly promoted side. Vardy has 11 goals in 16 PL matches against Arsenal. He's had a brace at the Emirates in the past. I want him to score again. I don't see it happening. I got nothing but Arsenal here.
Yes. Wolves looking to get out from the bottom of the Premier League, but what a tough schedule to start the season. And it does not get easier as they welcome Liverpool after their great cup win in the Carabao Cup after some good rotation in midweek and that great win last week against Bournemouth. Chiesa got substituted on for the last 15 or so minutes against Bournemouth. He did get some Champions League game time as well before that. Absolutely great to see him start to get integrated into the team. We'll see what he did. The European winner with Italy in 2021 when he was the talk of Europe, looking for £100 million moves to the Premier League. At that point, he stayed with Juventus. Now he is finally in the Premier League with Liverpool. Luis Diaz, a great performance against Bournemouth. Can he keep that going? Darwin Núñez with a banger as
I was
well.
waiting for you to bring up your boy, Darwin Núñez.
You knew I was going to.
The only Darwin sympathizer across the league, and you finally have your moment. Go for it.
Get in there. Darwin Núñez from top of the box.
Great goal.
There it
Great
is.
goal.
Bringing his Uruguayan form to the Premier League finally. We'll see how Arne Slot lines up this week. Allison may make his return as well after dealing with a hamstring injury over the last couple of weeks. Kelleher has had some good performances. Not that he was really needed too much there over the last couple of weeks, but I got nothing but a Liverpool win here against Wolves. Don't worry, Wolves fans. It will get easier just in a couple more weeks. All right.
Yeah.
Just hang on. Hang on.
Arne Slot making his first big formation change after that Nottingham Forest 1-0 loss. Started to play Núñez instead of just Jota in that false nine role. I think it's working out pretty well. I see Jota and Núñez, Jota just like right under Núñez starting in this one, and nothing tells me that Núñez won't get another goal here. Next up, we got low-key one of the most exciting matchups of the weekend. We got Nottingham Forest.
Undefeated Nottingham Forest.
The undefeated, thank you, Nottingham Forest taking on Fulham at the City Ground.
Wait. Sorry. We got to rewind that. Undefeated European champion Nottingham Forest. Continue. Sorry.
Okay. They're coming off a solid draw against Brighton. They took 4 points out of 6 away to Liverpool and away to Brighton. They've got to be happy with that. Great counterattack goal that ended with a Sosa tap in that Brighton game. Morgan Gibbs-White, though, coming off with a red card for a silly challenge on the second yellow. He does get the ball first, but he scissor tackles at the tail end of it, and that has to be a second yellow. It's really tough because he's on great form. I think he is the biggest reason why Forest have been so good in the past few weeks. Chris Wood, 3 goals in 5 matches, has helped out a lot. Without that Gibbs-White midfield to get him the ball, Chris Wood, a proper number 9, he needs that help. He's not going to create for himself, but he's good at finishing. Fulham coming off an amazing win against Newcastle. Might have been, other than Chelsea, the best team of the weekend in terms of what we're expecting to see. Only City, Spurs, and Liverpool have had more shots on target this season than Fulham. They're getting their shots away. They had 11 against Newcastle. Again, totally deserved. Raul Jimenez getting a nice goal. Since Gibbs-White is not playing, I like Fulham here. Ooh. I'd have a different opinion, but if he was playing, but such an important player, probably the best of the 22 here. Ooh. And I like Fulham taking this away.
Yeah, Smith Rowe been playing fantastic as well. I love that he made that move, and now we get to watch him play week in, week out. Ipswich Town, talk about scissor tackles. Go back and watch some Murray highlights there. The goalkeeper for Ipswich Town, a great scissors tackle a couple years ago. Wins the ball cleanly. That's how you do it. Doesn't hit the guy at all. Fantastic tackle. And man, he's been playing fantastic. Great double saves every single week. Ipswich Town with the highest expected goals against in the league at 13 goals against. They've only conceded 8 so far this season. Pretty good for a newly promoted team. But they're going against a Villa team who is on fire on the offensive end, scoring 3 goals in their last 3 Premier League matches. Duran, just as soon as he touches the field, it seems like he's hitting something from outside the box, top corner. He's scoring goals for fun. It's allowing Ollie Watkins to get integrated more after his slow start. Onana hit the ground running. Rogers has been absolutely wonderful, fantastic. You talk about Odegaard. Rogers playing that kind of attacking midfield role has been amazing for them. Give me Villa. And sorry, Ed, I know you're going to be watching in the box here, Ed Sheeran for Ipswich Town, but you're going to watch a goal fest just the other direction.
Next up, we got arguably the most exciting game of the weekend. Manchester United taking on Tottenham at Old Trafford. United coming off the 0-0 draw that we rightly predicted last week against Crystal Palace. They're a little unlucky not to score, has to be said. They were the better team there, but Crystal Palace defended very well, and United wasn't able to get past Dean Henderson. Ten Hag is still starting Mainu and Eriksson together in the CDM role. I really don't like it so much. I said this last week, but yeah. I know Casemiro doesn't have the legs he used to. I think he complements one. Mainu and Eriksson just don't know who should go forward and who should stay back. And until they figure that out, maybe Eriksson can tell the younger guy, okay, stay back while I go up. I don't know what they need to do, but it doesn't seem to be working that well. Ten Hag doesn't have that many options here, but not looking so good. Tottenham coming off an important win against Brentford, where they went down early, but then convincingly won 3-1. Maddison with a great goal to seal it. Solanke with his first goal in a Spurs shirt, easy tap in. He got another 2 today, midweek in the Europa League. Yeah, Son and Maddison look great. Son coming off in that game in Europa League. We'll see if he can play this weekend. Not sure if it was just precautionary or how injured he actually was. I like Tottenham here. I think they're just playing better than United, plain and simple.
Yeah, a run of away teams here. Fulham, Villa, Tottenham all getting the wins here. Can Southampton join them as they travel to Bournemouth? Aaron Ramsdale returning to Bournemouth, his player of the season a couple years ago there. Got his career really going. Allowed him to eventually transfer to Arsenal, where now he is with Southampton. But Bournemouth is going to start fast in this game. They're at home. They've played 2 tough games. They had an early goal last week against Liverpool, chalked off for offsides. They're going to start off fast. They always start off fast. I think they're going to need to make some substitution there. I know they have the $37 million move for Evanilson. He just isn't it. He hasn't been it. He scored 13 odd goals for Porto last year in the league. He scored a couple Champions League goals, but if you really go back and look at how he's scoring these goals and the competition that he's scoring these goals against, I don't think it's going to translate well to the Premier League. He might get there eventually, but he's going to need more time. Last week they brought on Utera and Sinstera. Both looked absolutely fantastic. They've been subs for most of the season. I hope that they can get the start. Unal, the Turkish forward, has been great. He was on loan last year. He's come off the bench the last 2 games. I think he provides a 6'2" presence there at the top of the box to allow these speedy wingers to get at you and get some crosses in, where Evanilson is shorter and likes to play more link-up play, and he's not making the runs that you need to when you have these speedy wingers going down the side and trying to get a pass back to the top of the 6 or a cutback or something like that. So I hope that they can make some substitutions. Southampton still, with the formation changes, still want to play out of the back. They still turn the ball over. They are, even with Cameron Archer starting up front now over the last couple of games, the formation change and everything, they just haven't been getting offense going. Tyler Dibbling has been amazing. An assist, 18-year-old kid, an assist and a goal over the last couple of games, but that's really been it and nothing too much for it. So Aaron Ramsdale will be great. Kepa will be great as well, former Chelsea goalkeeper. But I like Bournemouth here at home.
Good. We finally picked a home team. That was a lot
Yeah.
of away in
Yes,
a row.
indeed. And there you have it. There are our picks for week 6 of the Premier League here on Twin Football. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you all next week.